What's up guys, this is Astranox. It's time for the showcase of Fairytale Tenebria. This time on my first account, I pair her with very high offensive heroes. They have pretty high speed. She is on speed and hit set, right? She's got very high speed, pretty high amount of effectiveness, 15 skill ups on her, and the Guild's Ancient Book is the artifact that I'm going to be testing her on this time. That artifact really opens up a lot of possibilities. I really like it. You can have some pretty cool combos with herself, and you will see her. I pair her with different heroes, different team compositions. I try a bunch of stuff out, and it's a lot of fun. The 20 souls is definitely super strong, unless of course you're fighting Bellion, which is just going to block your souls from Tegil's Ancient Book and your soul gain until you take her out of the equation. So she's definitely very annoying. So there's a lot of pros to using Fairytale Tenebria. There's definitely quite a few cons, so definitely stay tuned in this video. I'm going to be talking about that. Let's start with the pros, right? And let's talk about my team compositions that I'm using her in. So you can see here we have Summertime Issaria, great composition. You're going to be able to do some control, pretty good damage. And yeah, that's the thing, man. You got the provokes, resurrected provoke from Fairytale Tenebria. It's so powerful, so powerful. I've talked about it in other videos, so I don't need to go too much in detail about what each thing does and the mechanics and all that. You can go back and check my showcases of Fairytale Tenebria that I've done before. But yeah, Summertime Issaria, definitely a very powerful combo. If you have pretty high speed on her, you're going to be able to follow up after Fairytale Tenebria. And then it's going to allow you to push the rest of your team. And yeah, that's it. You can single out some heroes with Summertime Issaria. You can control with the detonation. Very strong stuff. You can have attack break. Of course, the silence, defense break, even the unhealable from Fairytale Tenebria is quite handy. Now I have a lot of debuffs. I have Rage set on Bloodblade Karen. Look at the damage. It's a great combination. Now she has immortality, unless it gets removed. And she is much rougher to deal with. So definitely a pretty solid combo. You can have, a AoE damage dealer that has a rage set. If you're going to load them with a bunch of debuffs. Mui in here, providing the attack buff, 3-turn attack buff. She can silence with her exclusive equipment. The hero with the highest speed, the highest combatiness, I believe. That's what it does. And then she's got some stun, she's got some bleed, she got she got a random debuff she can apply on skill number 1, but it's mostly for the attack buff. But the silence, the stuns, if the battle drags on, pretty cool stuff that you're able to pull off. And you could open up with Mui and have Summertime Issaria follow up. But, Fairytale, since she has very high speed, I definitely like to have her go first. And if I feel like I'm going to get outsped, I'm just going to bring like a speed memory imprint, or maybe more than one speed memory imprint, just to sort of like guarantee that Fairytale Tenebria goes. But in World Arena, your speed imprint might get banned. Maybe Fairytale Tenebria gets banned. So you got to be worried. You got to worry about that, right? But if you can bait a ban with Fairytale Tenebria, that's pretty solid, because your other heroes are going to be let through, and maybe you have some pretty deadly heroes that you brought along with her. But if your whole combo depends on Fairytale Tenebria, you got to be careful about that. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket, right? So we got here Summertime Issaria again. I bring Fallen Cecilia. If you're playing World Arena, you bring Fallen Cecilia, that means the enemy cannot have her. So barrier is definitely an issue. That's a con with Fairytale Tenebria. Barrier will be protecting immunity set, so if you use skill 3 with Fairytale Tenebria, you don't deal enough damage most of the time. Even if you have her with 100% crit chance, pretty decent attack, it's going to be rough to take out that barrier, right? Especially if the heroes have pretty good damage mitigation. If they have Aureus to there's different ways for them to soak the damage. You're not going to be able to break that barrier, and it's going to be rough. But yeah, Fallen Cecilia, if you can pick her before the enemy, maybe you want to open up and you pick Fallen Cecilia, that's definitely pretty solid. And then you follow up with Fairytale Tenebria and other heroes, depending on what your playstyle is, because Fairytale Tenebria, you can have her paired with very high offensive heroes, high speed. You can have her paired with bruiser heroes. It's pretty cool. She's that dangerous. So yeah, I really like that. Now, the fact that she removes a buff with the skill 3 before she can land the enable to buff debuff and the resurrected provoke is super strong if There's no barrier protecting the immunity, right? No Fallen Cecilia that you're fighting against. Great. Now, of course, cons, like, I can start talking about them. Valet, he's green, right? He's an evasion-based hero. He can have Moonlight Dreamblade, so much evasion that he can have on himself. And then she's Ice, Fairytale Tenebria versus Earth. That's already really bad to begin with. And then you have some evasion on the hero. It gets real bad real quick. It's going to be easy for him to just counter-attack as soon as she opens up with the skill 3, you know, attack break on her. And she's just going to end up dropping real soon. But if you can get your combo of skill 3 and then the enemy has provoke, resurrected provoke, they attack one of your ally, triggering her skill number 2, and then you got a random debuff like defense break or silence or unhealable, that definitely, you know, helps. And then you got that damage happening from the skill number 2, and she has another damage portion that scales off of the target's, you know, maximum health. So that happens after the initial burst damage with the skill number 2. And then if you have her limited artifact, that's more damage on top of it. It's fixed damage. So, you know, overall, it's a pretty nice amount of damage that you can do with her. I'm already seeing some pretty decent numbers on this hero, right? Like, there's a battle I opened up with her. I used the skill 3, the skill 2 triggered, and at the end of the battle, she dealt like over 20,000 damage. And that was just using the combo of skill 3 with the skill 2 triggering only once, and then using one auto attack with skill number 1, and over 20,000 damage. So she's definitely pretty solid to soften up the enemy. And if you have her paired with like a thief with Eliha's knife, right? This artifact will penetrate 20% of the target's defense when you attack, you know, with a thief that has it. And you're going to be able to, you know, deal more damage because of that. Maybe you have a penetration set on a single target damage thief, like maybe my green Sid is on a penetration set. So like if you have something like that, or, you know, another thief single target damage base, and you have Eliha's knife, pretty solid combo that you're going to be able to pull off. And you might be able to take out that target because, you know, defense penetration is a big deal. And even if you don't have penetration on, you know, penetration set or Eliha's knife or something like that, maybe you land defense break with Fairytale Tenebria's skill number 2. Yeah, that's nice. Now, you can use other artifacts on her. Abyssal Crown, you know, a stun, another chance to land a stun. Solid stuff if it does happen, right? If you didn't get lucky with the resurrected provoke, maybe. So that's always an option. Siren could definitely work. The Guild's Ancient Book is so powerful because it really opens up a lot of different possibilities, right? But I definitely want to try her out on her limited artifact when it gets buffed. I feel like it does have... it will be pretty solid. I will definitely put it to good use. Now, the fixed damage is not that bad if you have just one copy at plus 15. It's close to 1,000 fixed damage, goes all the way up to 1,500 when you have it maxed out. But limited artifact are really rough to like have maxed out, right? Unless it's a limited artifact that you can swap to different heroes because it's such a powerful one, right? You're probably not going to max that out using Bottle of Knowledge or getting multiple copies of it because it's not that strong. Unless you really like Fairytale Tenebria, or maybe there's a mage that can put it to good use, get released later on, so you're going to be getting that artifact multiple copies of. Now, of course, the fact that she can remove, you know, a buff with her limited artifact, 60% chance, it has to be an extra attack, you know, the skill number 2, or she gets called into a dual attack, but it's not a 100% chance. It's just going to be a nice thing to have. Now, other team compositions that... I've been trying her in is, of course, bring like a hero that has a speed memory imprint like Vildred. Good stuff. Green Sid, Fire Shuri, Watcher Shuri, right, to name some of the popular ones. Definitely strong. And you can definitely have her in a team that have some tanky heroes. Bruiser heroes, very tanky hero like a Fallen Cecilia, like they're going to be resurrected provoke and they're going to attack that hero. Now, if you have a hero that has a counter set, that has a counter built in into their kit, it's definitely going to be pretty deadly. If you're resurrecting the team into a martial artist can, let's say, dangerous stuff. If you're resurrecting them into just like a really tanky hero, it could be a Dark Corvus, you know, making his skill number 3 ready faster, always pretty dangerous. But yes, you're buying time. They're using skill 1, basic attack, man. Skill 3, skill 2, like that's the dangerous stuff. Skill 1, no big deal. Unless, you know, they get lucky and the skill 1 triggers something else, right? But still, if they're forced to use a skill 1, it's definitely sort of like a game-winning thing. You're buying so much time, and if you're offensive-based, and if you can put that turn 1, turn 2 to good use, you can start to take them apart one by one, and it can, you know, definitely get you a lot of victories because of that. Now, Fairytale Tenebria, there's some cons, right? Like Earth heroes, especially Earth evasion-based heroes, big deal right there. Other heroes, like, no, that's the thing. When the enemy will remove only one debuff on themselves, like Angel of Light Angelica, right? The cool thing is that she removes Unable to Buff debuff instead of the Resurrected Provoke. So you can counter her, right? If you open with Fairytale Tenebria, she's going to trigger her passive, and it will put skill. It will remove the Unable to Buff debuff, put skill nullifier on their team, but the Resurrected Provoke is still there. Now, of course, 15% NH resist will get you a bunch of debuff resisted on all sorts of heroes. It just happens. That's the way it is, unfortunately. But outside of that, right, you can pretty effectively land your debuff if you have enough effectiveness to counter their effect resistance. That's definitely a big problem, and you're going to have, yeah, it's going to be a bad time if they have a lot of effect resistance, and it will happen, especially in World Arena. You climb higher in the leagues. There's teams that are going to be super tanky. They're going to have so much effect resistance. Maybe they're stacking effect resistance memory imprints on top of it. It's going to be way too hard for you to have enough effectiveness to deal with that. So if you're going for super high speed on her, it's just going to be way too hard to have that high speed with the super high effectiveness to counter, you know, effect resistance heroes with like over 200, 250, 300% plus effect resistance. Like, forget it, you're not going to be able to pull it off. But if they're not running like super high effect resistance, you can definitely mess them up. And most of the time, if they're not confident with how much effect resistance that they do have on their cleanser, or maybe they don't even bring a cleanser, they're just going to ban your Fairytale Tenebria. So that's good, that's bad. It really depends. Maybe you have your best speed on her with like as much effectiveness as possible, and that gear could have been used on another hero, or it could be split between herself and another hero, but you really opted for having your best gear on her, and if she gets banned, that's really sad, because maybe your strategy revolves around her. But word of caution, you should not do that. You should have, you know, more than one strategy. Now you can pair her with like Challenger Domino. If she has a 100% crit chance, it's very strong, because Challenger Domino is going to go after, push the rest of the team, and then, you know, the skill 2 of herself will be able to charge up C-Dom more, so her single target damage is going to be even higher. So like so many different combos, and you can take off the immunity of the enemy, so you can land a bunch of debuffs with other heroes as well, control them. And there's definitely so many different things that you can pull off with this hero. She definitely has some cons, but overall, such a powerful hero. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. I'm Astranox. Good luck with all y'all do. Peace out for now.